What was your most embarrassing trip to the doctor? Valentine's Day, 2019. I pooped blood in the morning and made an emergency appointment. My doctor is a 60-something-year-old woman, and she says to me, "You realize you can't tell me something like that without me having to take a closer look." I'm lying sideways on the bed with my knees tucked up and my pants pulled down. She applies ice cold lubricant and starts to insert a finger into my top. And I make the awkward remark, "You haven't even taken me out to dinner yet." Dead silence. Nothing wrong as far as I can see. She tells me, "Have you eaten anything like beetroot recently?" I immediately remember the beetroot juice smoothie I had drunk the day before, but I'm too embarrassed to admit to it, so I lie. Worst Valentine's Day ever. I was pretty young, had never swallowed a pill before. My only experience with anything pill-like was Flintstone vitamins. I was in there with my mom and was given a Tylenol and a cup of water, and I guess no one imagined I had never taken a pill before. So I immediately popped it in my mouth and vigorously chewed, and then immediately threw up from the bitter taste. My reaction was surprise and confusion. Doctor was just like, "You just swallow them with the water," like I was some damn idiot. I got a parasite after the water pipes in my city broke due to a hurricane and ended up in the air for almost 2 weeks. Doctors said it was a third world parasite they'd never seen before. So I had hordes of medical students coming in and out every day asking me really invasive questions. Then some nurse read that hedgehogs can carry this parasite, and, well, I have a hedgehog, so I had to call up my landlord and have her scrape poop off my hedgehog's wheel at 3 AM, put it in a bag, and bring it to the hospital for testing. I had random hospital employees coming into my room every few hours after that, asking me if I was the girl with the hedgehog poop. Found out my hedgehog's poop was perfectly clean, and the kicker was that this supposed third world parasite was just giardia. This was a hospital in New Jersey. Found a small lump on the left testicle. I went to see the urologist, and when the nurse brought me to the room, inside there was a doctor with around 20 students. Doctor told me to lie down on bed and take my pants and underwear off and not to worry about students. How they will be doctors one day as well. He put the gloves on and proceeded with the exam, trying to find the lump by moving his fingers around my left testicle. After he finally found it, he called the first student and told him to look for the lump. Every single person in that room was touching my balls. That was weird. I was like 9 and my mom had some brownish lipstick. Well, as a prank I put in on my underwear and walked around the house with my pants sagging. Forgot about it, and that night I got up to go pee, and when I went to lay back down the spring popped out of the bed and cut my side really bad. I get to the hospital and remember about the underwear after they asked me to change into my gown. I didn't want to have my butt sticking out from the gown, so I kept the underwear. After they stapled me up, they asked my mom to leave, and they asked me again what happened. Guess they seen my fake poo stained undies with blood on it, and was like, "What's going on in that house?" My mom was pissed, but we laugh about it now. I was getting ready to go to a pool party, changed into my swimsuit, put clothes over it, and I was doing chores before I left home. My face started feeling numb, and I was getting a headache. Called the advice nurse. She told me to call for an ambulance. Paramedics come, transport me to hospital, check into the ER, they do an exam, CT scan, and labs. They find nothing, and decide to discharge me to follow up with my regular doctor. While waiting for discharge paperwork, I'm sitting on a hospital bed in the hall. My neck is really aching from my halter-top swimsuit holding my boobs up. So I pull the strap over my head to relieve the pressure, and then it hits me. I'm fairly large chested and my halter-top swimsuit was pinching a nerve in my neck and causing all the symptoms. I was too embarrassed to tell the doctor or nurses. Not my story, but my mother's. When she was pregnant with me, she had some pain and itching in her genital area. She went to her gynecologist, whom, she says, was a man with a rather odd sense of humor. She gets into the stirrups and doc gets in between her legs and says, "Oh, cottage cheese, yum." Mom had a yeast infection. She found a different doctor, too. I had to have surgery to remove growths from my O-ring. My BF knew. He was the one to drive me to surgery. While waiting for the surgery 3 separate times people came in asking me to say in my own words why I was there. I had to say out loud 3 times, "I'm here to have growths removed from my asshole." My BF sat right next to me through this. He really is the best man. If I had known that was going to happen, I wouldn't have had him in the pre-op with me. I still feel like I was pranked to this day. Woke up one day with severe pain in my lower right abdomen. I was aware this was a possible indication of appendicitis, so I'm worried. Got to the walk-in clinic where they ran some tests and an x-ray. After a while the doctor comes in and simply says, "You're full of sh," and laughed. I said, "Excuse me." Come to find out I was severely constipated. They prescribed a laxative and a few hours later I was feeling a lot better. I was a freshman in HS, and I went to a normal yearly physical. It was a new small office in a new location and the desk person was a girl who went to the same HS as me. I brought up to drive that I had a small lump in my sack. The physical continued, and he showed me his new work toy. It was a speech-to-text microphone that was connected to his laptop. Patient complains of a small, painless lump inside the scrotum. It wasn't working. Right, so he tried again. Louder. Patient complains of a small, painless lump inside the scrotum. I guarantee the whole office heard him. No eye contact was made with said desk gal leaving the doctors that day or in the halls of school ever again. Not too bad, but a perfect example of how my life tends to go. I had just bought a new type of perfume and put some on in the morning. By midday, though, my neck was red, puffy, and itchy. Home/OTC stuff wasn't doing anything, so I headed to the college infirmary, got in, was giving a nurse the details before the doctor came in. You know the drill. But then she asked the question I was dreading. And what perfume was it? Me. It's by Christian Dior. It's called Mumble. Nurse, what was it? Me. Mumble. Nurse, I'm sorry, dear, but I didn't quite catch that. Me. Sighs. It's called Poison. Poison by Christian Dior. I look over at her, and she just has this look on her face. Me. Go ahead. Laugh. I would be, if I were you. She did grin pretty widely, and there was a bit of a giggle when she told the doctor. True story. I couldn't make this sharp if I tried. This was most recent embarrassing doctor visit, as I've had pretty terrible luck with medical professionals in general. I had a recurring/constant ear infection for probably around 8 months last year. I did a Levasit with a new primary and he prescribed antibiotics and said if it didn't clear up, that I'd have to go to the ENT. I finished the round and my ear cleared for a little bit, but then returned to fully messed up. Ended up on another round of antibiotics for an unrelated incident and same story. We have long wait time for doctors and specialists where I live. So many months after my ear infection had started, I go to the ENT. He takes one super quick look in my ear and leads me to another room. He has me lay on my side and pulls out a hearing aid dome that apparently had fallen off and gotten stuck in there. He also waited to pull the thing out before telling me what the problem was. I'm guessing for the drama/amusement factor. I was embarrassed since I had lost a dome, but figured it had fallen out somewhere and not into my ear. The timeline of the two incidents never connected for me, so I never pieced it together as an option for what might possibly be wrong. He tried to reassure me that it happens pretty often, but then he had to throw in that usually it happened to elderly patients, and I was probably the youngest person he had pulled one out of, or this could have been avoided if I didn't have a damn telehealth appointment in the first place. I easily get eye infections, so the first sign of something being wrong, I usually take note. At this time, my parents had just moved to a new home and invited me to come spend some time there and help them unpack and so on. My eyes were super sensitive and I was basically in a state of crying. There were tears running down my face with no effort from me whatsoever. After a day or so, I told my dad, "Hey, something strange is happening and my eyes won't stop leaking tears." So he recommended that I go to the eye doctor just in case there is a major problem. I literally was wiping my face every 30 seconds. I had never experienced anything like that, and it was so consistent. I was convinced that it was a cry for help. My eyes were warning me something was wrong. Anyways, the doctor hears what I have to say. He looks at my eyes and just goes, "Point, you have allergies."